All right, guys, let's have a look at your funnels for e-commerce and also explore the concept of the minimum viable funnel. This is going to save you a lot of heartache and a lot of money as well, or your clients' money as well. So overall, just really, really good to be aware of this strategy. So generally speaking, when we're talking about funnels, we're talking about a process from going out and creating awareness of our products and then pulling people through the consideration phase in the marketing funnel where people are aware, I need to lose weight, and then they start considering their options. Do I get liposuction, or do I get a personal trainer, or do I get a gym membership? So taking them through the consideration phase, making them aware of your product, making them aware that you are a solution to their problem, and then through to the purchase phase. So that's basically what a funnel does. It goes out there and it funnels leads into your business and turns them into customers. Now, typically speaking, most people associate funnels with lead gen industry or online courses. However, in e-commerce, we also have funnels, and I'm going to actually take you through 4 of these today. You're also going to get blueprints for Lucidchart if you need templates to roll out in your business or for your contractors, etc., etc. Now, generally speaking, when people are asking me about, what kind of funnel should I be building for my client, it really comes down to the price point of their product. So the more expensive the product, generally speaking, the longer of a funnel you're going to need. It makes sense, right? If you're charging, a couple $100s for a product, people are going to want to really think about that, and they're also going to really need to trust you and have that affinity with your brand or with yourself. Versus if it's a sort of $5 or $20 or $50 product where it's not terribly high priced, you'll find a lot of impulse buyers in that segment. So you can get away with very, very short funnels. So that's a very big generalization. Now here's something super important about this, right? Because you might be thinking, well, my client is selling $7, candles on their shop, so the price point is $7. Well, this may not actually be the case. So it's important before you even get started to have a really good understanding on what is the actual price point of this product that you're working with. So when I use the term price point here, I'm actually mostly talking about average order value. This is one of the most important figures that you need to consider inside of your funnel. So the first thing to do is figure out or map out what is the actual lifetime value of a customer. So for example, if they're selling something where, Tom used this example once, tampons, for example, where, every month, the customer is going to have to buy from you again. Well, the lifetime value of that customer may actually be quite high, even though a box of tampons is only about, $15, right? So what is the actual lifetime value? And it could be that the client or that yourself, if this is your own shop, is willing to actually break even on the initial purchase because you do have a high lifetime value of recurring payments on the back of that. The second thing to understand to really gain clarity on what an acceptable cost per acquisition is the average order value. And as I mentioned, this is one of the most important figures. So just because you're selling $7 candles on your shop, are people actually buying 2 or 3 on average of these candles? And is your average order value more around sort of $16 or $17, right? So you really need to figure out these figures. This is really important. If they're using Shopify, you can pull most of these through Shopify. Stripe will also give you an indication of lifetime value. And then finally, once you understand the average order value, then you can calculate what the target cost per acquisition is, so the CPA. And this is ideally in e-commerce around 30% of the average order value. So if you have an average order value of $100, your target cost per acquisition, meaning the target cost per conversions for purchases in your ad account, should be $30 per purchase. That's what you would be aiming for overall. So this means top of funnel, you'll have a little bit more of a tolerance, and then bottom of funnel, they should come in way under that $30 mark. And overall, the entire funnel would balance out to a $30 cost per acquisition. So this is normally how you calculate this. This is really important to understand because if you have clients that are selling products under $50, it's really hard to make that work with Facebook ads unless it's what we call a kingpin product. However, if they have a higher average order value or if they have a higher lifetime value, it can be worth it for them. If they don't have a higher average order value, well, maybe that's a strategy that you need to map out with them. How do we actually increase that order value? Do we need to put plugins in place? How can we increase the lifetime value? So let's have a look at some typical e-commerce funnels. So I'm going to take you through 4 funnels in this program. Now there's a lot of different variations on these guys, and this is not the be-all and end-all, but these are generally 4 of the most common funnels that you'll see in this space. Now this is what we call pretty much the minimum viable funnel. I'll talk about this in a moment as well. This is where you go straight to a cold audience, sending them straight to the product page where it triggers a view content, so it triggers the DPA, and then you've got your retargeting in place ready to pick up any remaining sales. Now with this kind of funnel, you really want to see sales happening with your top of funnel ads, and generally speaking, this works better for low price points as you saw in the graph. However, it can also work for higher price points as well. Second funnel example is pretty much the same as what we saw before, except now at the very beginning, so with our cold audience, we're warming them up a little bit more with some content marketing. So this is normally a video, it could be a post, it could be an article that was published, so a piece of press, and then you're retargeting that audience with the actual product. So this one is just warming people up a little bit more. It tends to work with a little higher price point as well. Funnel number 3 is where you lead in with a lead magnet. So funnel number 2 was more of a soft content value-based approach, whereas this one is definitely more of a lead magnet. So this could include a webinar, it could include a cheat sheet, a download, it could include an offer such as, a free sample. It could even include a discount. So when you're leading in with, hey, want to get 50% off this product, that is kind of a lead magnet at that stage. You're collecting their email address, and the purpose is to build that email list up, right? And then you're sending people to the product page and then retargeting with your DPA. This type of funnel works really, really well along a big range of price points. So it works really, really well along sort of 100 to anywhere from 2,000. Beyond that, it gets a little bit harder, but certainly under that sort of $50 mark, it can be a little bit hard because the lead magnet is ultimately going to increase costs overall in that funnel, and it's not really going to work if it's a product under 50 bucks. And then following on from this, funnel number 4, that should say number 4, sorry guys. Funnel number 4 is the same as number 3, except we are pre-warming our audiences even more at the top of the funnel, and then sending them through the lead magnet into the product page, and then into the DPA or the retargeting stacks that we've set up. Again, this can work for a wide range of price points as well. So how do you know which funnel to choose and which funnel to get started with? Well, there's a lot of different theories out there on what you should do, and as you saw when we were looking at this graph, this can give you an idea. You could go, well, my price point is around here, so I need a fairly large funnel. However, after having seen so many e-commerce campaigns, and run them myself, what I would recommend is I have actually seen the minimum viable funnel. I've seen ads that are direct response, straight to a cold audience, work phenomenally well. And especially if the client has great schema on their website, or it's a type of product with high intent that Facebook just knows exactly who to go after. I've seen this funnel work really, really well. And so what I recommend is that you should always start with what we call the minimum viable funnel. Direct response to a cold audience, sending straight to a view content product trigger, and then your retargeting, your DPA on the back of that, regardless of which price point you're going. Now, what this is going to do for you is one or two things, right? The first is that if it works, fantastic. You just saved yourself a ton of time and a ton of money trying to build a really long funnel that could have actually and resulted in not getting any results for the client, right? Because it was too convoluted. So if it works, fantastic. You've just, saved yourself a lot of time because you've started off with the minimum viable solution. Now, if it doesn't work, now you have data. Now you have data on where things are not going properly, or where potential bottlenecks are happening. Now, what you do if it doesn't work is really easy, guys. All you start doing is you start building up your funnel, just like it's shown here. So you start going through these funnels. This is kind of from the easiest down through the hardest, right? So this one's gonna take you quite a bit of work to set up. It's got a bit more content. You've got a lead magnet in there. So you basically start with the minimum viable funnel. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, you start to beef it up. And what you're looking for there is obviously conversions. Is my top of funnel ad in my minimum viable funnel actually getting sales? And is my retargeting getting sales as well? Is it all coming together with the acceptable cost per acquisition that I've calculated? If it's too expensive, let's look at each step along our funnel. So the add to cart rate, the purchase conversions, the click-through rates, the CPCs. Check back on those industry stats, guys. If you're not sure about that, that's in the foundation section. And you can optimize accordingly. If all of those stats look fairly decent and it's still coming in too expensive, then you build on that funnel a little bit, right? So this is the approach that we would take inside of the agency, and this is what I would recommend for you regardless of the price point. If you're working with products that are under $50, those are definitely very hard to work with on Facebook ads. Definitely stick to this kind of funnel. Any funnel longer than that just won't, it'll be so expensive to get sales from that unless they have a very high lifetime value, or the client has some kind of strategy, so they have upsells behind that, right? All right, I'll see you guys in the next training, and these are all about your funnels. Any questions, let us know.